This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on 39 Dunedin News, a local man prepares to prove he's a cut above the rest in an upcoming butchery competition. It's good news for the Highlanders, with confirmation one player is staying here in the south. And a dentistry conference being held in Dunedin is attracting people from around the globe to Otago. Good evening, Dunedin. I'm Holly Buchanan. A local man is pitting himself against some of the world's best for the biggest butchery contest New Zealand's hosted. He's sharpening his skills along with his knives ahead of the event, and there's more than just individual success at stake.
Mosgiel man Greg Edgerton knows his meat. He's been a butcher in and around Dunedin for more than 20 years, honing his skills over that time. Now he's facing his greatest challenge yet, the Tri-Nations Butchers Contest in Auckland.
So it's the biggest one in New Zealand's history. It involves also the Young Butcher of the Year, and then followed by us later on, all in the same event in the Viaduct in Shed 10. So anyone can go along, anyone's welcome. It's showcasing butchery at its finest.
Edgerton's part of the Pure South Sharp Blacks, a six-man team of butchers. They're competing against Australia and Britain in this year's Tri-Nations in Auckland. Kiwis have won the contest 2 years running, and Edgerton wants to help secure the hat-trick. Competing at this level still feels unreal for him, considering a year and a half ago he was ready to hang up his knives for good.
I thought I'd give the North Island versus South Island a go, and if it wasn't going to work out, I was going to look at doing something else. But finding the passion, like-minded people in that environment, now I don't want to leave. It's refueled the fire within.
What he'll make at the contest is under wraps, but Edgerton's keen to show what he can do with pork. He says knife skills and good time management will be crucial to securing victory. And to achieve that, he's had frequent practice sessions with his teammates in Auckland.
When we're together, we're doing a full practical, but every night or so, we're always ringing up, email something, just getting all our ingredients to the garnishes to what we need down, so we can, when it comes to the practical side of things, when we meet up, it's all go.
While a third consecutive Kiwi victory is the main aim, Edgerton wants to retain his place on the team for a chance to compete overseas in the 2016 Tri-Nations, and that requires focus, just weeks out from this year's contest. David DeLorean, 39 Dunedin News.
And the Otago University Students' Association is breaking away from the New Zealand Union of Students' Associations. The OUSA has paid its outstanding bill of just over $20,000 to the union. Executives say the national organisation is ineffective and they won't seek further membership. 5 other student associations have either withdrawn from the union or are considering it. The OUSA's relationship with the union soured months ago, with executives initially refusing to pay outstanding fees. They want to see the union replaced with a different representative model, but there are fears tertiary students will lose a national voice if the union folds. Renowned rugby union halfback Aaron Smith is staying put in the south. He's just committed to the Highlanders and All Blacks until the end of the 2019 season, and he says at this point in his career he wouldn't want to be based anywhere else.
Confirming 4 more years at number 9. Highlanders halfback Aaron Smith has re-signed with the champions side until the end of the 2019 rugby season. And he says choosing to stay in Dunedin was easy.
I love it down here, and they've made it a home for me, and I live here now, and it's just one of those cool places. It's small town people, but in a little city, and I'm from a small town, and that really made it easy for me to come down here.
Since signing with the Highlanders in 2011, Smith has played 78 Super Rugby games for the team. And he says continuing his career with the franchise is made easier thanks to the home turf.
This stadium here is very special as well. It's it's probably the best ground I've played at ever. So, and I get to play at it, every second week for the Highlanders. So it's pretty special, and I'm very blessed that came along.
Following on from this year's stellar Super Rugby season, Smith says his preference has always been to continue the momentum and remain in Otago. And Highlanders General Manager Roger Clark says the organisation is more than happy to keep Smith on the books.
I think Aaron's one of the best players in the world in his position, if not the best, and so to have him in the Highlanders is a real bonus, and to have him there since basically he started representing the All Blacks is even a bigger one for us, because it shows all the young players out there what they can do if they come down to our part of the world.
Clark says locking down Smith for the next 4 years is good for the Highlanders as the side looks to defend its Super Rugby title next season. Something Smith's looking forward to, although for now his focus is on the next big announcement with the All Blacks World Cup squad selection on Sunday. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
The warehouse staff in Mosgiel are counting stock after a late-night burglary in which several televisions were stolen. Police say thieves smashed a front window of the Gordon Road business just before midnight on Monday. They say security alarms failed to activate and staff are determining whether other stock was taken. Police are reviewing CCTV footage of the break-in. They're interested in any information about a white van seen nearby at the time. And cutting-edge research and technology are the driving forces behind an international dentistry conference in the city. Delegates from around the world are gathered to discuss the latest industry advances, and they're also getting a glimpse at Otago's renowned dental education.
Oral presentations as dental scientists and clinicians share their expertise. Almost 200 delegates are in Dunedin for the annual conference of the International Association for Dental Research. And local organising committee member Professor Richard Cannon says those attending are among the best in the field.
They'll be working in dental schools, there'll be clinicians who treat patients, but also they'll be undertaking dental research in terms of making treatments better for patients. And each year they come together to share their knowledge of what they've discovered about dental research, which hopefully will improve the treatment in the future.
Dunedin last hosted this conference 9 years ago, in which time a lot has changed for local dentistry research. The University of Otago's dentistry facility was recently ranked the 8th best dental school in the world, ahead of Harvard. And Cannon says this conference gives international delegates the chance to check it out.
This is the opportunity for them to come and visit and have a look at what we do, but they get to know what we do through the scientific presentations. A lot of our staff are presenting here.
Each year the conference has a specific theme, and this time it's translational dentistry. Put simply, that involves translating scientific discoveries into health benefits. And guest speaker Professor Ben Wu from the University of California says it's eye-opening to hear what others in his field are up to.
In just sitting in those meetings, I learn about what people are doing and how they're asking different problems, questions that I don't normally ask, and just watching how they solve those problems helped me think about some of the things that I do in my practice and in my research. So it's been very educational for me.
Plans are already in motion for next year's conference in South Korea, with delegates looking forward to sharing another year of research. Ruby McAndrew, 39, Dunedin News.
And still to come on 39 Dunedin News, we speak with Dunedin Mayor Dave Cull about the situation with the city's accommodation. And thousands of Dunedin school pupils are showing their skills on the stage.
Oh, lifestyler can be anybody. We look at a lifestyler as someone who perhaps has been a farmer and is retiring into a smaller block. It could be someone who's working here in Dunedin and has a few acres at home. It could be mum and the kids with the pony on an acre. You know, it's anyone that's got a little bit of land rather than just the quarter-acre section.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell menswear, it fits.
Hi, I'm Mike Kernahan, Chief Executive of the Cancer Society, Otago and Southland Division. On 28th of August, we celebrate 25 years of Daffodil Day. Daffodil Day helps us provide care, comfort and hope to people who have a cancer diagnosis and their families. It helps us run health promotion programs so there might be less cancer in the future, and it funds vital cancer research. So please give generously this Daffodil Day. Text HOPE to 469 to donate $3 or visit daffodilday.org.nz and help us make this Daffodil Day the biggest and best yet.
128 tracks, dynamic automation, dual faders and totally digital. This is state-of-the-art music production. The SSL Digital Console. You'll find one in the BBC studios in London, another at CBS studios in New York, and now one at the University of Otago. It's a good reason why our sound now sounds even better. My name is Maddie Parkins Craig, and this is my place in the world.
Take your place in the world.
Hedges are something we almost take for granted. A good hedge needs regular maintenance to look its best and to add value and character to your property. For all your hedge care needs, call the team at SGC Services on 0800 783 453.
Big Orange, for all your movies, records, books and games. Pre-loved needs and vinyl records, 45s, DVDs. A South Dunedin family-owned business for over 15 years. Check us out on Facebook, opposite Westpac on the sunny side of King Edward Street.
Discover New Zealand's most innovative museum, Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. 14 stunning galleries, 3 distinct architectural styles, and 1 million intriguing stories are yours to discover at Toitu Otago Settlers Museum. Open daily next to Dunedin Railway Station and with free admission. Toitu Otago Settlers Museum.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
Welcome back. A University of Otago study reveals international trade agreements benefit New Zealand's export markets, including the dairy sector. Researchers include the controversial Trans-Pacific Partnership Agreement among such lucrative deals. They say trade agreements reduce barriers between countries, which has a positive effect on exports. 2/3 of New Zealand's economy now depends on international business. Researchers surveyed dairy industry professionals throughout the country and say the majority see international trade deals, including the TPPA, as positive. And on that note, let's take a look at today's financials. The NZX 50 is down 36 points and is now at 5,578. And the Dow Jones is down 205 points. And the exchange rates, the Kiwi dollar is up against all the currencies we follow. Dunedin Mayor Dave Cull is calling for more visitor accommodation to be established in the city. He's just been involved in 2 large tourism conferences held locally, and his comments have attracted both criticism and support. So he joins us now to discuss the issue. Good evening.
Good evening.
So firstly, what is Dunedin's visitor accommodation sector currently lacking, in your opinion?
It lacks both quantity and quality. It lacks enough bedrooms, hotel bedrooms, to meet the latent demand that we know is there, and it lacks quality. It lacks say 5-star accommodation at the top end that we know that an increasing number of both visitors and conference delegates demand.
And will new accommodation force existing businesses out of the market?
No, it actually will help them. This is not about new competitors coming in and sucking up some of the existing market. It's about expanding the market, it's expanding the demand. We know at the moment we're not getting a lot of conferences, that we're not getting some large events at the stadium specifically because we don't have the accommodation. So if we had the accommodation and they came in, there's actually more visitors come in and everyone benefits.
And you've just touched on this, but are there any other ways that more visitor accommodation would benefit the city?
Well, largely by bringing in the big top-end conferences, bigger events, better events, and the visitors that go with them.
And what sort of challenges are developers facing?
Finding the right sites or buildings and getting a grip on the mix of demand that they need. Just because we need more top-end accommodation and more accommodation in general doesn't mean it's easy. So developers and operators need to get a handle on where the parameters of the site and the kind of mix of demand that they'll be serving.
And tell us, why have previous hotel plans failed?
Well, the one that always comes to mind is the 28-storey proposal. It failed because it simply could not be made to work on that site, and it wasn't just the height. We put a tremendous amount of effort in from council and personally into trying to rescue that project, and it could not be made to work on that site. Transportation issues were as much as anything. The other reason was that the developers simply refused to adapt their design or concept to the realities of the city or consider another site, and fell over.
And in general, is the council making it easy enough for developers to produce this accommodation?
Yeah, we're developing a proactive approach where we hold hands with a developer or operator who's interested and take them through the processes. You know, any development anywhere, it doesn't matter what it is, anywhere in the country has to go through the resource management process, and it can get quite complex depending on the zoning or whatever. So we want to have a one-stop shop, one point of contact in council to help developers through that.
And finally, is the council currently involved in plans for new accommodation? If so, what can you tell us about that?
I don't think there's anything I can tell you specifically. If there are conversations going on, they'll naturally be commercially sensitive. But what we are doing is we're talking to operators and developers all the time about possibilities. We're talking to investors. We're talking about sites. We're talking about demand. So yeah, there's discussions going on, and I want to ramp that up because I think we're in desperate need. There's almost a tsunami, we're told, of demand coming towards us. We need to be ready to take the opportunity.
Mayor Dave Carl, thanks very much for your time.
Thank you.
After the break on 39 Dunedin News, school pupils are showcasing their skills in the annual Stars on Stage production, and we find out your views on whether Dunedin needs to increase accommodation available to visitors.
Sir Bob Charles, New Zealand's greatest golfer and still going strong.
I'm sure that Sportsville was a contributing factor to my success, and I'll continue to use it.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville, a product so good he puts his name to it.
Well, I believe Sportsville helps maintain your quality of life.
Now being used by active men and women globally to support strength and mobility.
It works for me.
Sir Bob Charles Sportsville in the new all black pack. Call now for the Sportsville special 0800 502 402.
She's 21 metres long with a 6.7 metre beam. She can support diving, seafloor mapping and sampling, deep water measurements, and has onboard laboratories. She has a range of 1,000 nautical miles, which means the Polaris 2 can take your studies further than you ever thought possible. My name's Will Raymond, and this is My Place in the World.
Take your place in the world.
Pregnant? Need to talk? 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Pregnancy counselling services are here to help. It's free, it's confidential. Call us now on 0800 773 462.
For 30 years, Southern Clams have harvested New Zealand littleneck clams in the coastal waters of Otago. Hand harvesting to order at the right place and time ensures perfection of every clam you eat. New Zealand littleneck clams, harvested for you by Southern Clams.
Active Furnishers Limited, home of quality service with superior product and an in-house design team who are always happy to advise and create an imaginative solution for you. Active Furnishers Limited, part of Dunedin's design history.
Hi, I'm Mike Kernahan, Chief Executive of the Cancer Society at Otago and Southern Division. On 28th of August, we celebrate 25 years of Daffodil Day. Daffodil Day helps us provide care, comfort and hope to people who have a cancer diagnosis and their families. It helps us run health promotion programs so there might be less cancer in the future, and it funds vital cancer research. So please give generously this Daffodil Day. Text HOPE to 469 to donate $3 or visit daffodilday.org.nz and help us make this Daffodil Day the biggest and best yet.
Wake up time and another frantic day ahead for Haraway's Oat Singles. With 3 delicious flavours in each pack, they don't last long with this family. They're so convenient and tasty, and they're ready in seconds. Haraway's Oat Singles are the ideal breakfast or snack on the run for today's busy families. And there's a flavour to suit everyone. Beat the rush and make sure you get your favourite flavour. Haraway's Oat Singles. Try new Kiwi Favourites Caramel Variety Pack.
Every reason, every season, we're proud to dress the region. Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
A lifestyler to me is a person maybe wanting to escape the hustle and bustle of a big city, wanting some animals, maybe able to grow their own veggies, have chickens, get their own hens. A lifestyle block can be your supermarket. Just a good way of living, and a lot of people enjoy that rather than being in a city. A very sustainable way to live.
Welcome back. Thousands of school pupils are singing and dancing in the largest ever Stars on Stage production. And as the annual show gets underway, organisers are noticing some major changes in the local arts scene.
Months of hard work and dedication has led to this, and it's just one part of this year's Stars on Stage show. More than 24 schools are involved, with thousands of pupils getting their time in the limelight. And organisers say it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience that kicks off a lifelong love of the stage.
I've had kids come to me and say thank you for giving me the opportunity, and they've gone on to do more dance or more drama, and that's really good. And I think if we make a difference to even a couple of kids' lives, that it's worth it.
She says this year's show has shaped up well, following extensive planning to ensure everything from Sleeping Beauty to African-inspired shows come to life on stage. The event's a local theatre staple, spanning more than a decade, and Ryle's seen big changes in that time, such as a drastic increase in the number of boys taking part.
Although they start off with, I don't want to do it, they love it. And as soon as they come off the stage, the kids are, oh, can we do it again, can we do it again? So it's really great to see that. For me, that's the big kick.
She says Stars on Stage had humble beginnings, first mooted in a school staff room, and now it's a highlight for many kids throughout the region.
So it's just got more and more popular, and as I said before, the schools that started with us, I would say 99% of them have stayed, and others have just come in as well. So they've put it into their curriculum, so it's something that they do as part of their arts.
And each night's a full house, so these kids can make the most of their 15 minutes of fame. David DeLorean, 39, Dunedin News.
As we just discussed with the Mayor, there are renewed calls for more visitor accommodation to be established in Dunedin. Civic leaders say it's desperately needed, but that's disputed by some within the industry. So our Word on the Street team asked members of the public if they think the city needs more visitor accommodation.
Well, quite frankly, I think there's quite enough at the moment as it is. So, no.
Yeah, they do actually, because a lot of people are homeless around here, and heaps more tourists coming in, looking at the tourist attractions and stuff.
It's just going to make Dunedin more expensive to live in if they build new buildings. I reckon just keep it the way it is.
I guess it kind of does, because we get quite a lot of people with the beach and all the erosions and everything happening, and the St Clair Pier 24 hotel has been pretty good around. It gets quite a lot of famous people.
It's because it's good down at the beach where there's lots of tourist attractions where they can all just hang out, and it's really nice down there, so yeah.
I don't really think so. I think they're alright at the moment. I just see walking up and down the street plenty of motels, hotels, most of them saying that there's a vacancy. So.
Well, I do notice that come a big rugby match, people are letting out spare bedrooms, which would indicate to me that we do need more accommodation.
Yeah, at least if they're going to make us heaps of money, then I think it'll be all good.
I think it does. Sometimes, especially if there's games in Dunedin or attractions in Dunedin that people want to come to, then they need accommodation to stay in Dunedin.
I think so, because when there are
like rugby games and stuff, there aren't that many hotels to stay at because all of the people that have travelled from different places to come don't have many places to stay.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on 39 Dunedin News. A Mosgiel butcher is sharpening his skills and knives ahead of competing in the biggest butchery contest the country's ever hosted. Highlander and All Black Aaron Smith has committed to New Zealand rugby for another 4 years, signing on until 2019. And Otago's world-renowned dental school is in the spotlight as international delegates gather for a research conference. And now a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Dave.
How are you? Hi. Well, we're going to follow up the Aaron Smith story tomorrow by telling everybody where his favourite takeaway is in Dunedin. All Blacks have to train on these great diets. We've got a story about the Albion Cricket Club, which is going to change the name of its pavilion to Warwick Larkins to commemorate the well-known cricket supporter and statistician. We've had an obituary on him earlier this year. We're looking at the Queenstown accommodation issue again. That's become a big issue up there. And we've also got a wedding guide, which will fall out of your paper tomorrow when you open it up, which I know is very popular. And the Wash column is having a look at the Sinclair Piles again, and also the Harbourside area in Dunedin too. So plenty in the ODT tomorrow.
Thanks very much. All that in tomorrow's ODT.
Yes, no trouble.
And time now for a look at local weather.
This local weather report proudly brought to you in association with Silberhorn Sportsville.
Starting with today's city view, staring down the barrel of a gun. Around the city today, the central city recorded 9 degrees, 11 degrees at the Gardens and 10 degrees out on the Taieri. Looking at the situation, a cool southwesterly airflow is decreasing over the country from the South Tasman Sea. The anticyclone will move away tomorrow and Friday with a milder northerly airflow developing. To the forecast for the main towns in the lower South Island for tomorrow. Invercargill, moderate northerlies, fine and 16. Gore, also some moderate northerlies, fine 15. Te Anau, freshening northerlies, cloud increasing 14. Alexandra, just some light winds, fine and 15. Queenstown, moderate northerlies, fine and 15. Oamaru, moderate nor'easters, fine and 14. Wanaka and Twizel, light winds, fine and both 15. And in Dunedin tonight, becoming fine with frosts and a low of 2. Tomorrow it'll be mostly fine and sunny with light to moderate nor'easters developing, a high of 11 and a low of 3. And on Friday, cloud increasing and some rain later in the day with a high of 11 and a low of 7. And finally to the southern clams tidal and fishing information. Low tide tomorrow morning is at 7:52 a.m. and high tide follows at 1:31 p.m. Fishing conditions are good and best at 9:58 a.m. And that's local news for tonight. On behalf of the 39 Dunedin News team, have a very good night.
This 39 Dunedin News Bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.